technology, diversity, wine, the redwoods, and everything in between. Welcome to the Northern California Bay Area, and one show takes you inside the real estate that makes it all happen. This is By the Bay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to By the Bay. I'm your host, Dan Ancheta. I'm really grateful that you're here, back on the podcast, and I'm really excited to have Rob Tomasello back. We have some big, exciting news from Rob. He just made a change, left the brokerage and went to a new one, so we're going to talk about that, and also kind of jump into what's happening in real estate in the North Bay and all the different markets that you're serving, because you're kind of you'll go further. You'll go do, go where the business is, which is really cool.
That's it. Yeah, I'll drive about, an hour to an hour and 15. If it's a referral, I mean, shoot, I'll drive 3 hours to make it happen.
For sure. Yeah, we appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
So if you're not currently subscribed to By the Bay, please do. We're continuing to grow the audience and love to interact with you all. So thanks for the recent comments and some DMs I've been receiving lately. It's been really fun to see. Grateful that you're all listening. And if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about on the show in the future, let us know. And thanks for being here on By the Bay. So Rob, you just left. You were with EXP, right? And you just realigned with Engel and Völkers. I always say it wrong. I always say like Engels and Völkers or Engel and Völker, but it's Engel and Völkers.
Engel and Völkers. But yeah, you're correct. I was with EXP for the last 4 years, and recently decided to make the decision to switch brokerages to Engel and Völkers. I'm going to be out of the Sonoma office.
Nice.
But still serving all my normal areas, right? Sonoma County, Napa County, the Bay Area, Solano County, all those same areas. But right down the street from my home, about a 3-minute walk.
Yeah, because you're in Sonoma.
Yeah, I'm right in Sonoma. So the office is right downtown in the plaza, which is about 3 minutes from my house. It was cool. My daughters came down and saw me this morning.
Walked down. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can go see what Dad's doing.
That's it.
It's funny because before we started recording, my wife and kids, came by the office. I think I still actually hear them in the background.
They want some more snacks. Yeah.
God, they're raiding the snack. We go to go to do the office Costco run.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll drop like $500 at Costco.
Yeah.
And I am shocked at the amount of snacks that get eaten.
Yeah.
And it's largely like the kids that come visit, because everyone has their kids come in, our clients bring kids in, and they'll go through like 3 or 4 bags of snacks in a sitting. It's wild.
They do. The problem I'm noticing with my girls is they go through a bunch of snacks, but if you look, I mean, there's like a little bit of this bar left, a little bit of, this stuff left. They don't actually finish any of it.
We have the snack graveyard, where it's like half-eaten Chewy bars, apples that are like only the skin eaten off of half of it, right?
Yep.
And then like abandoned, little bags of chips or whatever, crackers. And at the end of the day, it all piles up. And we have chicken, so that all winds up going to chickens, because otherwise it goes stale and gross. But yeah, dude, we the completion rate on a snack is probably like, I don't know, 70%. There's only 30% waste out of every snack.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And anyway, kids are enjoying the summer, which is nice.
Yeah.
So so that's funny. So I was thinking about how many people I know right now that are changing brokerages.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to get too deep in the weeds here, but it's an interesting conversation about like, why are people making changes, do you think?
That's a good question. And I think some people or a lot of other people's reasons are different than mine.
Sure.
To be honest with you,
is it splits? Is it support? What is the thing that's driving people to start, making a change?
To be honest, I think there's a lot of realtors and agents out there right now that are just struggling.
Right.
And if you're struggling somewhere and you're having a tough time, then that's kind of your option to go somewhere else and see if it can work there. Me personally, I'm super grateful for EXP and the Drunico home selling team where I'm coming from. I had, I think, a little over 60 transactions in 3 years, which was awesome and has helped build my business.
That's great.
So for me personally, what I've chosen to make the move is, to be local in Sonoma is huge for me. Be involved in the community that my family's a part of and my kids are growing up in.
Yep.
And also just to be around, highly other professional, high producing agents.
Sure.
Is just where I was at in my career.
So it's interesting. So there's like, I think some of the agents I've heard, move, not specifically you, but, other people, I'm hearing, well, one, we're just trying to get more support, right? We need more back end support. We need more help, just kind of, getting things done. We also hear just, building brand, building your own team, kind of doing your own, alignment of like what the brokerage stands for and making sure that, you're with a brokerage that is in line with the way you want to do business and kind of how you see the world. But I mean, is it really that much difference between, you did some research, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I mean, I did research. I interviewed other brokerages. Honestly, it was a big decision for me. I didn't take it lightly.
Yeah, totally.
I probably interviewed other brokerages throughout the last 2 years, and this one wasn't really an interview. It just kind of happened.
Felt right. Kind of knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it happened naturally. And, Engel Völkers, it is a luxury brokerage, but they don't want you to get it confused on its only luxury properties. It's a luxury service to the clients.
So the luxury is the service that you're providing.
The luxury
at all
is
different
the
price
service
points
you're
of real estate.
providing at all different price points.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't mean you don't deal with certain price points. You give that luxury service to all the clients, no matter the price point.
Right. It's all about experience.
It's all about experience, and really the back end support I have there just really allows me to go out and do what I do best.
Yeah, you've hit the ground running too, so I'm excited to see you've got some cool stuff happening. So.
Yeah, I got some cool stuff happening and some cool stuff in the works, and just super excited for the new start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was kind of thinking of like what to talk about in today's podcast, and I think the thing I really liked about our last episode, because this is your return guest, which is always fun, so we can kind of pick up things.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like surrounding yourself with other high producers and gleaning from them, things that you can do differently, and just like the challenge of like keeping up with other really driven people is maybe one of the biggest differentiators that a brokerage, or either on the mortgage side or the real estate side, can have. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Like that idea of like, you build this friendly competition in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're out there trying to screw each other over and take deals from each other or whatever.
Of course not.
But it does drive you, right? When you see someone else putting up numbers, you're like, oh man, I want to be like that. I feel like I'm as good as that person. I want to have the same results that they're having.
Totally. Exactly. And like you said, friendly competition, because, it is important in this industry to keep great relationships with everyone you possibly can. But yeah, I come from a really athletic background, played college football. So yeah, I'm super competitive, to be honest with you, whether that's with the agent I lost the listing to, or whether that's, other people in the office that are producing. And it's not in a bad way, but that's what helps me.
It drives you, right?
It drives
me to do better.
To do better, So to be honest with you, and I don't mean anything bad by this, but I'm kind of coming from a big fish in a small pond situation to now, with some other sharks, if that makes sense.
No, I totally get that, right? So you're, the people that are in the office and in the local brokerages at Engel Völkers, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at some really heavy hitters.
Yeah, some really heavy hitters for sure, and some people that I just really felt I wanted to surround myself with. Now, that being said, this move, it does take me betting on myself, right? I'm going from a team where, I was doing 2 deals a month, had leads coming in and was comfortable, but now it's time for me to really bet on myself and build my own brand and have my name behind everything that I do. Yeah. And that's super important to me.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a really good, it's a challenging move. It's difficult. It's probably, kept you up at night. I did something similar when we created Sequence. It was kind of going from a really comfortable setup. That was nothing really wrong with where we were before. Yeah. But it was like, hey, I want to build something that's kind of my own. Yep. Right. Yep. And, that was a really hard decision to make. Yeah. But in the end, we're 2 years or so into it now. And next month will be 2 years. And it's been really challenging 2 years in the business.
Of course.
So I'm still kind of waiting for the payoff of the risk that we've taken. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like we've been plodding along, we've been doing well considering how bad things have been in the mortgage industry.
Right. Kind of an
Companies.
interesting timing you came into it, right?
It was
had all the challenges against you.
kind of the worst possible timing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it was necessary, right? And it was kind of like that, I think that moment where you're like, I either need to settle in where I'm at, and this is going to be where I'm going to be for a long time, or this is the moment that I need to go do something.
Right.
And if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Well, there's never going to be a perfect time.
No.
Right. And that's, I went through the same thing. You know, you're kind of waiting for the perfect time, and then you just get to the point whether, you know, it wasn't the best time or not, but in your heart and mind, it was just the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like one of those ideas of like, if not now, when?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I think this maybe applies to the overall conversation, but it's like, if not now, when? Like, when is it going to be a better time to start pursuing those goals? When is it going to be a better time to buy a house? When is it going to be, when are you actually going to be more ready and more prepared than today to make these changes? Now, that doesn't mean that you should go and act immediately, right? It's like, hey, now is the time to start building momentum to be able to make this decision and get your resources all lined up so that when you do pull the trigger, you've got everything ready to go.
That's it. And I think, you know, I think a lot of people, they get really comfortable in their situations, whether it's a 9-to-5 job or whether it's at a brokerage where they're just not super happy, whatever it may be, right? Anything in life. And I think in the end, to really go out and make stuff happen and succeed your dreams and goals, you got to get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
totally. You got to make uncomfortable decisions.
Oh, man.
You got to burn the boats.
I've been having so many conversations lately with loan originators kind of all over the country because we're trying to recruit and grow, right? So one of my day job is being a loan officer and supporting my realtors and clients. In addition to that, you know, I'm building the Sequence brand, doing the marketing, doing the back end kind of operation support that happens here. I'm recruiting, I'm training, I'm doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. It's actually a great gig. But the conversations I've had lately with loan originators kind of all over the country is that they're not thrilled with where they are, but they're afraid, right? They're afraid that changing is going to make it worse or less predictable. Right. That they know there's better out there, and they know that they can do better for themselves and for their family and their overall situation, whether that be pricing or splits or whatever it is, support, product, whatever. But the idea of changing is so overwhelming because you have to like fully commit and you have to act and you have to do, and staying where you're at is easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Comfortable. It's not
email address stays the same.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You just kind of get into the groove, do your normal stuff through day in and day out. Yeah. But you don't really necessarily grow.
You don't grow, and you know, you're not, like you said, you're not happy. So it's tough.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So that idea of like, you deserve better, right? Like if you're not thrilled with where you are, and if you're not getting the support, and not speaking to your situation exactly, but just in general, if you're not working for a brokerage or for a mortgage bank that's meeting all of your needs and helping you achieve your goals and like kind of pushing you to be better, then man, those places exist. Yeah. And you have to go find that right culture that meets your needs, and then like fully, like you said, burn the boats.
That's it.
Do it. Go 100% in and don't look back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to do.
But you know, that's what it takes, right?
Yep.
And you know, don't get me wrong. I think for agents starting out, joining a team with a less commission split, if you're getting leads and it helps build your business, it's a great option for a lot of people, right? But once you get into the business a little bit and you do start doing well and you start getting referrals in, it is important that you are able to brand yourself too. So.
No, totally. I think anyone who's new to the business at all needs to have at minimum a mentor.
Of course.
Right? Minimum a mentor.
Yeah.
And ideally, like you said, being a junior agent on a team, just having exposure to more deals, right? Like I've talked about it on the podcast before, but you know, Aaliyah here in my office taught her from ground up. She knew nothing.
She's been crushing it.
She's been crushing it.
That's awesome.
But in her first couple of years, she saw a couple hundred deals.
That's it.
A normal loan officer might see 12.
Right.
30.
Well,
the
you know,
most.
this is a business where it's like you can go on the trainings, you can attend whatever webinars and whatnot, but the main way you learn is going out there and doing deals and writing offers
and getting your butt kicked.
Your butt kicked.
And having hard conversations with clients, and you learn from those.
Yeah.
And you make mistakes and you screw up.
Yeah.
And then you have to make it right and figure out the path.
Yeah.
But then you never make that mistake again.
That's it. And I think honestly, the best realtors, the best loan officers, the best people at whatever they do, profession, they don't give up. They just keep pushing forward. I think this industry is tough because you do take some losses, right? You take some hits and they don't always feel good, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And they sting for a little bit, but you just need to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that have kind of taken those hits, or a deal falls through and they get upset, and next thing you know, they're out of the business.
Oh yeah. You have to have
thick skin.
You have to have thick skin and a short memory.
That's it.
You know, I've had clients that, burn me on a deal. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, my God, dude, you know how hard I've worked for you behind the scenes? Like, I have worked my tail off to help you. And then they come back around sometimes. And then it's like, well, you have to have a short memory and go,
You do.
Hey man, I believe that at the time you thought that you were acting in your best interest and doing what's best for your family. And I can't fault you for that.
Yeah.
Right. I can't be mad. I can't be mad at someone for doing what they think is best for them and their family.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then
that's a good way of looking
inevitably when they come back around and they're like, hey man, you're right. That other person wasn't telling me all the facts.
You're like, I'm best for you and your family.
I'm like, come on back.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
All is good, but let's just be on the same page.
I think it's understanding too. I mean, there's a lot of emotions and stuff, and when you are running numbers like that, it does get scary. And especially in your profession, what I've learned being in the business, some of these mortgage brokers and lenders, they don't give it to these people up front, right? And then so it's like whether they see it before putting an offer, like, oh shoot, we have all these additional funds, or you get into escrow with some of these people, and then it's like, oh shoot, we need all this cash to close now because this person wasn't up front. And it's like, okay, well, this isn't a good situation.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And then there are those circumstances. I have a deal right now that we pulled full credit pull, all three bureaus, and we're like progressing down the line. We're getting close. The ratios are super tight, but the deal totally works, right? Everyone's on the up and up. And then all of a sudden, this undisclosed debt pops up that we didn't know about, and it's like $700 a month, which changes the ratios, which makes the deal not work. So we had to scramble. We, wasn't our fault that the debt didn't come up, but we're responsible, right? So we had to the customer gave a little bit, the agent gave a little bit, we gave a little bit, and we worked it out. We wound up making it work. But, it just feels like you really have to be forthcoming as much as possible and then do the right things. If you do the right things, good things happen.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
So,
and then, when situations like you just talked about come up, keep a level head.
Yeah.
You're supposed to solve the problem. And
Right.
if you freak out, you're not going to come up with a good solution. Keep a level head, come up with a solution like you did. Deal goes through, everyone's happy.
Was the customer thrilled that they had to come up with like $4,000 extra dollars? No.
Yeah.
But when they understood the magnitude of the problem, and I was like, here's how we're going to split it up so it's fair for everyone, they're like, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
And it just is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You move forward.
You move forward. But yeah, I think that's what you're right. Like you have to put those reps in, right?
Yeah.
So like you get more exposure to those types of deals, and then you can progress through them faster when you're on your own. So now that you're on this kind of this different brokerage and new team, you'll have a whole new set of exposure to things, and you'll see deals that you haven't seen before.
For sure.
And someone's going to come like, hey, check out how we put this thing together. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That'll really help out as you learn and grow and expand.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's cool too. I'm already, pretty involved in my community. I'm down at the park quite often with my little girls, meeting people, and just casual conversations that turn into, if you want to call them a lead or a client, but it's casual and it's real. You know what I mean? It's a personal connection, which is awesome.
I've tried like buying leads. I've tried doing all sorts of different kind of like marketing things. Even still, 8 years into the business, 95% of my business comes from past clients, referrals, realtor relationships,
Right.
and like mostly people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
At, first and secondary connections.
Mm-hmm.
So-and-so's cousin, so-and-so's
Yeah.
parents, and again, it goes back to like, take care of people, do the right things for the right reason, and good things happen.
Yep. Exactly.
And it like, that's not that complex, but I feel like a lot of people don't get it. They try to hit a grand slam on every single deal, right? And it's like, hey man, like, take care of everyone, make sure everyone's getting what they need out of this.
Be a good person, have integrity in what you're doing, you know what I mean? Look out for your clients, and good things will happen.
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure. I'm seeing a bit of like an influx of newer, younger agents coming in.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not sure exactly what's propelling that, but I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
To have some younger, newer, people in their 20s and early 30s kind of getting into the business. Have you seen that too? Kind of question number one. And kind of question number two, someone who's been in the business for 3 years now, what advice would you have for a brand new agent?
I have noticed that. Yeah. Some agents in their younger 20s, early 30s. I got into the business, I think right when I turned 30. Advice I would have, we kind of talked about it before, but get yourself a mentor. Honestly, don't get too caught up in the commission splits. Find somewhere where you have a mentor where you can learn and do a lot of shadowing, and because this is a long game.
Right.
I think that's the thing. This is a long game of building good relationships, and it's important you learn that stuff because that's going to help you build confidence for the future. So I am thankful that I did have a good mentor. I was able to do a lot of shadowing. That would be my number one advice. And then also, like we talked about earlier, just pushing through the hard times. A deal falls out, keep going. The only thing that's going to make that feel better is going to get another one. Or deal falls out, most important thing to do, stay positive, keep your buyers positive, and go find them another home. Right? That's the only thing you can do. And that's the number one thing you can do. You talked about it, having a short memory. I love that, man, because that kind of, reverts back to sports for me, whether it was like baseball and I struck out 2 or 3 times one game. It's like, I didn't want to go to school the next morning, but it's like, have a short memory, because if you don't, you're going to go have another bad game, right? Let it go.
Well, like take it down like play by play, right? So if you're playing defensive line or whatever, right, and someone blows right past you and sacks the quarterback, are you going to sit there and beat yourself up about it,
right,
and then not have your head in the game for the next play and then get sacked again?
That's
or
it.
Do you shake it off and go, that was a really crappy play, I totally messed that up.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and don't do it again.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
It's a long game.
It's a long game.
Right?
It's one play, man.
That's it. That's it. Just like real estate, So I think that's cool. You mentioned that.
I didn't play football, by the way, but I just,
any sports.
I imagine I'm making it
well,
up.
It's any sports, right?
Yeah.
You were a soccer player, wrestler. You have a bad match. If you dwell on that, probably not going to have a good second match.
And I was honestly terrible at that. I would in the middle of a match would be like, oh man, I didn't do that right. I should have done this. I didn't change. I didn't think 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And that's what I would be thinking about. And I think that was the thing that actually held me back from being even better than what I was, was not having the mental strength to go, okay, I'm here now. Now what?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't feel like, to be honest with you, I've learned so much more about the mental aspect of sports, just everything in life, like the last 5 years. I don't feel like it was as big of a thing or talked about as much when we were playing sports.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because I say the same thing myself. If I knew the mental aspect of sports and visualization and manifesting, I could,
so
things might have been different.
Credit to my dad actually had a friend who was like a sports psychologist.
Yeah.
And so when I was in probably my freshman year, my dad kind of saw it in me like, hey man, your self-doubt is holding you back.
Yeah.
And we'll tie this back into real estate.
Yeah.
I think it applies. And I actually went to go see him, and we, talked a couple of times. I was a kid, so he wasn't getting too deep in it.
Yeah.
But he was basically like, hey man, the athletes that I counsel are Olympians, they're major league baseball players. They're like big deals. They're like professionals.
Yeah.
90% of winning happens between your 2 ears, like being positive, thinking about how you're going to execute the play, thinking about and visualizing success and what that means,
Yeah.
and also visualizing failure and how you're going to bounce back from that. So you're not
Right.
shocked by the
Right.
failure,
That's a very good point.
right? Like,
Yeah, expect it because it's going to happen.
it's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So if you think that you're going to get into real estate or mortgage and you're going to just come in and crush every single
Mhm.
deal and never make a mistake, it's like,
Mhm.
dude, you're going to be disappointed in yourself and you're going to be second guessing why you're even doing this. But if you
Yeah.
know going in, like, hey, I'm going to get my butt kicked
Yeah.
for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to figure it out and get my bearing.
That's a great point. And I think that's a big issue with newer agents or anyone that joins the business is real estate can be flashy. You know, you got people's Instagrams, you know, sold for millions of dollars, or you got $1 million listing. And
Dude, I want to work for Sirhan. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, exactly.
Owning Manhattan.
Exactly.
We just started
So,
watching it. I'm
yeah.
like, I want to work. I want to move to New York
that's it.
and work for Ryan.
That's it. Yeah. I want to be on the
Apparently
show.
we're on a first name basis, by the way, me and Ryan,
There you go. They're buddies. There you go. So you know what I mean? It's like, it seems flashy. There's a lot of money into it. But people don't really see the stuff that goes into that, making the calls, deals fall through, showing multiple homes to people, and then they don't buy, or they end up renting, or they
use a
buy
different
with
agent.
someone else.
Oh man,
you know,
it's heartbreaking.
No one sees
Right.
this stuff, and no one sees having to push past. They just see deals closing and, oh, you're getting paid. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's like, okay, well, I got paid this much because, you know, I showed this person one home and got them in a contract and it closed. But what about all the other time I put into this other person that
Never got
nothing
paid.
happened?
Yeah, nothing ever happened.
So
And you know, it's commission only. So it's
commission
like,
only.
There's no guarantee.
there's no guarantee.
I think that's the thing is like, do you get paid well for what you do? I think you get paid fairly,
Yeah.
you know, for what you do,
yeah,
but it's because there's no guarantee.
Right.
Everything is on you. You
Right.
have to perform. You have
Right.
to help your clients and you have to add value. And if you stop adding value, you'll stop having clients.
that's it.
If you stop having clients, you'll stop having income.
Yep.
So you have to be consistent and you have to do it every single day, day in and day out.
Yep. Exactly. And
I
they
mean-
they need to feel it, right? Like they need to feel like this guy is going to battle for me, really, whether that's, you know, taking a load off of them and making calls so they don't have to, arranging movers, whatever it may be, but, you know, provide some sort of value to these people and make the process, you know, less stressful.
I think it's just about really adding value by giving advice. I mean, I could tell you that I think for me, most deals are like one for me in the initial intake call.
That's it.
It's the very first or second call where
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, and I mean it with my whole heart. It's
Yeah.
like, this is going to be stressful
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And I'm here to guide you through it.
Yeah.
I do this 5 to 10 times a month with clients.
Yeah. I felt
right?
the same when I bought my home.
I felt
get
the
it.
same. It's super, super stressful. You're
Yeah.
going to go to bed probably tonight going, what the heck are we doing? I
Yeah.
don't want to do this. This is so scary. I'm going to commit to this big old payment for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And it feels overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Wake up tomorrow, have your cup of coffee, you know, do your morning stretches, whatever you do in your routine. You'll feel better then, and you'll realize it's not that bad. Everyone
Right.
feels overwhelmed when they see that payment
Right.
for the first time.
Right. And then I promise you, when you get moving in the home, you're going to be calling me a few weeks or a month later saying, thank you so much. This was the best decision I ever made.
Oh, 100%. Honestly,
Thank you for pushing me to make this happen. And that is
Yep.
priceless.
so I can tell you, I really like the holiday season, right?
Mhm.
I like, you know, the Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's. It's just really fun spending time
Yeah.
with the family and stuff.
Especially you got the kids and
Right.
whatnot. Yeah.
My favorite part, maybe second favorite part of the holiday season is the text messages and the DMs I get from clients
Yeah.
that go, you were right. I imagined myself, what I imagined seeing my family in this new house on Christmas morning
Yeah.
and the kids running in and the Christmas tree right where it was. Cause I'll
Yeah.
like help people visualize like,
Yeah.
hey, this is why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Think about the memories you're going to create.
Of course.
Like, you were totally right. This is the right house for us. We're so grateful that we're here. Thank you for pushing us. And I get,
Yeah.
you know, a bunch of those every year.
Yeah.
Is the most rewarding, like validating thing that happens. Cause it's like, yeah, it's hard, but we're here to guide you. And then there is a payoff, and the payoff is the overwhelming emotion of gathering your family in a
Yeah.
place that is yours
Yeah.
and being like, man, I really achieved that.
Yeah.
That's badass.
It's funny. We just got done talking about getting uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of times buyers, sellers, both, they need to get uncomfortable, and it's up to us to, you know, hold their hand during that time and guide them through and help any way we can. But in the end, they do need to get comfortable to make these goals and dreams happen a lot of times.
Totally.
Right. I mean, it's even, you know, it's easier for people to keep renting. It's easy for people to keep renting, you know?
And I think importantly, like, it's not just like like people who barely qualify that feel this way. I have a client right now that got into contract that makes like $400,000 a year and is buying like a $500,000 house.
Yeah.
And she's stressed. She's like, this payment, it's $3,000. I'm like, that's great. You bring home $30K a month.
Yeah.
Like your ratio is so low. And even that, she's like, it just seems overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like everyone feels it. It doesn't matter if you're an FHA first-time home buyer or you're buying a $3 million mansion, right? Everyone feels payment shock. Everyone feels some type of buyer's remorse.
And I think that's probably just the commitment too, right? Because you're like committed, right? It's not just, you know, it's your home, you own it.
Yes, you're describing the jump from being interested to being committed.
Right.
I'm interested in this house. Feels good.
Yeah, for sure.
You can make
it on Zillow.
Look at it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tour it. I'm going to take my parents to go see it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
interested is cool.
Yeah.
Interested is comfortable. Committed is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that gap, like jumping from one side of the cliff to the other.
Yep.
Like that moment where you're like your feet aren't on either side. You're just over open space.
Yeah.
Feels so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you just know you got to land safely. And it's our job to make sure people know when you jump, it's going to be scary while you're floating in the air for that brief moment.
Yeah.
But once you touch down on the other side, you're safe. You're going to be okay.
Yeah. You're going to be good. That's it.
That's it. Podcast done.
I love it.
Let's go.
I love it.
So yeah, dude. So you have just landed now, right? So you made the leap. And now you just landed.
Everything feels great. And to be honest, you know, I did have to bet on myself, made a leap, which was super uncomfortable. But to be real with you, it took me my first day in the office, and I just had this automatic feeling of I'm going to crush it here. No doubts, you know, no plan B. And
I'm confident in that too, by the way. We talked a bit about it, you know.
I appreciate that.
And you're like, I don't know, man. I'm like, dude, if your heart's leading you that way, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then just settle in and crush it.
Yeah.
But how's that moment like when you're sitting there? Because I had this same when we made the move.
Yeah.
My first thought was, damn it, I made a mistake. There was the initial reaction was buyer's remorse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of took a deep breath and I'm like, but I have a wide open field now, right? Like I'm not just in this narrow channel.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So how was that for you?
You know, it was a good feeling. Obviously the jump was super nerve wracking. Didn't sleep a lot, you know, was nervous to tell the old team, excuse me. But when I finally did make the jump, and then, like I said, that first day in the office, it was proud of myself. And just automatically felt like I was in the right place to make this happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, to be honest, since I got into real estate, I've always manifested having an office downtown Sonoma because that's where I live. So I've always kind of manifested that, and it's been pretty crazy how it's worked out so far.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I think that's the cool part is that's a milestone. It's a mile marker for you, but it's not the end of the journey.
Right.
Right. This is just the beginning.
I think it's just the start.
Yeah, totally is. It's just the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna whatever you want to do in the business, because you could, you know, I could see you as a top producing solo agent.
Right.
Totally can crush that. I could see you as a team leader who's got a bunch of, you know, juniors and people that you're mentoring and teaching and bringing up in the business. I could see you doing that. I could see you on a power team with another, you know, broker who's the same level as you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could do whatever you want to do, and however you choose to address the business, you're going to crush it.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of how you are.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think, you know, all three of those things could definitely be options in the future. You know, it is nice being able to help other people along the way too. There's something to be said for that. So,
oh, absolutely.
You know,
I think I've said this on the podcast. If not, I will now. I actually make more money as a solo loan officer, just me and a production assistant and a processor, with a office at my house, no overhead, no podcast studio, no office rent.
Yeah.
Like I actually would make more money.
No Costco delivery
No
snacks.
Costco delivery snack. Well, we probably still have the snacks.
You probably still have the snacks at home.
Fewer dollars on snacks. You know, that's the most efficient way for me to be, but it's the least fun.
Yeah.
The most fun, you know, we've got 10 people in the office.
Yeah.
We've got dogs running around, people's kids coming to visit. We've got clients coming in and out. We've got, you know, other people in the building that we're in coming upstairs because they always know that we have snacks. So they come up and take our snacks, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun to be here.
Yeah.
And it makes coming to work really enjoyable, right? So we like, talking about friendly competition, if you saw on our Instagram, we have I bought like a really crazy like WWE championship belt.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we have a competition for whoever funds the most loans in a month, they get to keep the belt.
Nice.
And Aaliyah has won the last 2 months. I'm on track to win this month. And I am more excited to beat her than I am. This is not my best month I've had, you know, in terms of overall production. Yeah. But it's the best month for me because I know I'm getting the belt back.
Right.
Like I'm looking at pipeline this morning and I've got 2 more loans to fund and she's funded out for the month.
Okay.
And I'm like,
it's looking pretty good.
Bam, I'm going to beat you. And it feels awesome. And having that competition is super fun.
Yeah, and it's friendly.
It's friendly.
And in the end, it's like, she's going to be stoked for you.
She is.
You're stoked for her when she wins
And last month she beat me. I had a deal that rolled over to early July that's supposed to close on the last day of June. And I would have beat her.
That was our deal. Remember, we were going to try to close that, and then
that was your no, it wasn't your fault.
It wasn't my fault, but
it was us. We closed on the Monday instead of on Friday. That's exactly the deal. That's the one that put her over.
Yeah.
And I had been gloating all June. I'm like, I'm gonna beat you. I have a deal closing on the 30th. I'm totally gonna win, and then I didn't.
Nothing on our end, by the way.
No, it was all good. Client had emergency, got called out of the area. Couldn't make it happen, but.
So that counted for this month.
That counted for this month, but I would have won in June.
Okay.
She got to keep the belt another month.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like surrounding yourself with like that type of energy.
Yeah.
That stupid $200 WWE belt.
Yeah.
Like I should have got the spinner one because that would have been more fun, cool. But I didn't. Has provided so much joy and so much fun in the office.
Yep.
Like we kept the shipping box because we have other locations, right? So if and when, you know, Steph up in Kennewick, Washington.
So they're all in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet.
If Steph beats us, we're going to ship her the belt and it's going to be FedEx to her, you know, overnight.
Okay. Got it.
Everyone is so excited about it. And it's silly, but it's fun bragging rights. And you kind of get to be the one who keeps the belt for the month.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's the type of energy that's really fun.
Yeah.
And so I think creating that speaks back to like culture, culture and connection, like making sure that you're at a place that's providing that type. The WWE belt might not be for everybody,
right? But something. That,
what is the thing that drives everyone to go?
Yeah.
Not only am I going to encourage you to be better, but being around you makes me better. Right. And then we all.
That's it.
Kind of spin each other up.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to what's the saying? You are who you surround yourself with.
Yep.
5 people you surround yourself with. So
gotta take inventory of that.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
I think it's true. Yeah, I've read that
something like that.
You know,
right?
That's someone, I don't remember who said that. We'll have to look it up. But but yeah, that's the idea. Is like you're the combination of the people, the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah,
and I think everyone should kind of pause and think about that and go, are the people I spend the most time with really representative of who I am? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't.
Right.
But I think it's a good check-in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
good mirror.
If you're spending your time hanging out with 5 losers each day, you're probably going to be the 6th, right?
Yes.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, you might not be that specific.
And I mean, maybe not. Let's walk it back from like loser status to go like, hey, if you're hanging out with a bunch of people who are like, real estate's super hard and it sucks and I hate it.
I was referring to outside of real estate.
Yes, but I'm just saying like.
Yeah, but exactly.
If that's who you're spending your time with.
Yeah.
If you're in communities that are just like, man, it's super hard and oh man, I just hate it and I just wish it was easier. Well, what do you think's getting into your head?
Right. It's going to be hard. Yeah.
Or do you have a group of peers, you know, that talk about it differently and go, it is hard, but here's how we're turning this into an advantage. right? While everyone else is sitting around feeling sorry for themselves, we're going to take action. Here's what we're going to do.
Here are the opportunities we do have.
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
So
I have a cool like text group of loan officers kind of all over the country that we've met through. We met through Clubhouse. Do you remember that app, Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Really big during the pandemic. I'm not even sure if it exists anymore.
No. Yeah.
But it was like an audio only chat thing.
Okay.
Because we couldn't go to conferences and
Yeah.
you just could like open up a room and people would talk.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was cool. It was really enjoyed it. So anyway, I'm connected with a bunch of people there, and we've kept this text group going for years now.
Nice.
And every time, we joke and we kind of make fun of each other there. But whenever someone's kind of feeling down, they might say something in that group and everyone's like, hey man, like shake it off. You got it. Here's what we're going to do. And here's the experience that I have. And here's something that might be able to help you. We share resources. We share ideas.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from that group, which is amazing. But again, it's another kind of testament to like surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And
that are going to
learning
lift you up.
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, I actually was on a walk the other day through Sonoma and ran into another agent who does pretty well in Sonoma. I won't say their name, but they were having some struggles, right? And they were kind of venting to me, I lost this listing, I lost that listing, and this deal fell through. And I was kind of, hey, you're good. You're a good agent. Let it go. You'll be right back on track. Try to let it go. Keep the abundance mindset, right? Because when you start thinking like that, you kind of turn into a scarcity mindset,
right?
And then it was awesome. I saw her like 2 weeks later and she had 2 deals in escrow,
See?
So it's like, there you go. This game can change fast.
Oh man.
I mean, you can, it can change really fast.
It changes fast and it can surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have clients who are like, yeah, we're kind of good. Like we decided we're going to rent. Like basically not take us off your list, but check in with us less frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a week goes by and the perfect house comes up.
Yeah.
And they can't live without it.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we said that we're going to rent.
Yeah.
Turns out we're going to like go crazy on this offer.
Yeah.
We're going to pull out all the stops to buy this house. Like, okay, well, great. I never count anyone out.
Yeah.
I never delete anyone's file.
That does happen.
Happens
for sure.
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep.
So, but it goes, for me, it's like, hey, if you're an agent listening to this, the message, the idea here is like, don't give up on your clients. Don't quit on them. Don't get frustrated when they say they're going to do something and they don't. Just keep on the path, do the right things.
Yeah.
Do the daily boring behaviors, the check-ins, the continuous business development, and good things happen.
Yeah, exactly. And don't take it too personal, right? I mean,
it's such a hard thing to do.
It is. And I learned it too when I first got in the business, because you could call someone so many times, 10, 15, 20 different times. They might, respond once, might hang up on you another time, might block you another time. And I've had people do that to me, and then like kind of a story like you just said, and then out of nowhere, hey, Rob, I want to go see this house. We want to run an offer, and then they do.
Yep.
Sometimes it's nothing you're doing wrong. Don't take it personal. Just keep trucking along. Just sometimes the motivation's not there at the
100%.
point,
The other thing that I wanted to, I totally agree with you. The other thing that I had on my mind that I wanted to mention to you on the podcast was I've had a trend lately. I'm not sure if this is just me, but of people who already own houses, they've got those rates in the 2s and the 3s that are starting to transact. That the house no longer works for them.
Yeah.
Even though they've got, one that I was working with last night, I think the rate's like 2.875 on a really nice house, but it doesn't work for them anymore. And they're willing to take a rate that starts with a 6 for the house that makes more sense for their life today.
Yep.
The house they bought 5 years ago doesn't work for them, even though they've got a great rate. So all this talk about like, hey man, people aren't ever going to move because they got a great rate. Anecdotally, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're a real estate or mortgage professional today, it's a mistake that we're making to not go back and check, to assume that just because someone bought the big house with the low rate, that they don't have any interest in doing something.
Yeah.
Like they might have a different need. Maybe they, like in this particular instance, they have a young family and the house they're in has a bunch of stairs. It's like it's like a tri-level 3-story thing with the rooms kind of all in different places. It's a beautiful house. It just doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
So don't make the mistake of making the assumption, and you're kind of like closing off to those clients.
You're closing off the opportunities that
Right.
you could possibly have.
And you know how we started the conversation? I did an annual review to check in and say, hey, I know you've got a great rate, and I'm pretty sure you love your house, but just want to check in and see how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? We don't really love our house too much. We love it. It's a great house. It doesn't really work for us anymore.
Yeah, things change.
It's like, okay, well, let's explore some options.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're writing offers.
Yeah.
So advice, if you're listening out there, you're a real estate or mortgage professional, is go back and check in on those clients.
Yeah.
Go back, even if you believe that they have no interest in doing anything ever, you might be wrong. And the worst case scenario is you have a really nice conversation with the past client that maybe you haven't talked to for a while.
And they appreciate
the follow-up and the check-in.
That's it.
And do that. So the homework for everyone who's listening is to pick up the phone today.
Yeah.
And call some past clients just to check in and say hi.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, things change, right? Things change, whatever it may be. New baby on the way, family growing, someone passes away, divorce, things change. So I think it's important as agents and loan officers that the opportunities are out there. Don't block those off yourselves. Also, I've kind of noticed for however long people have really been on the sidelines waiting for rates to drop. A lot of people thinking they're going to drop below 5s, which we know is not going to happen anytime soon. But I have noticed a lot more people, maybe sellers want to sell now, but open to kind of realizing, hey, okay, we're, months down the road with this, rates are not going to go back to where we thought they were going to go back. Let me see if I can do this anyways, and I will refinance in the future.
Yeah. And I think what's helping that is, the Fed basically coming out and saying, we're pretty sure we're going to start cutting rates in September. I think last I saw, there was like a 97% prediction, was like 97% surety that there's going to be a rate cut in September or by September. And that's not that far. We're in the middle of July right now. So it's like, it's 45 days away.
Yeah.
So
let's get out there. Let's get it going,
Yeah. I mean, if we just see a little rate reprieve, it would be really nice. I think that would really help out. And I'm seeing more inventory, and, I still think that it's really, really important that we go back and check in with those past clients, because as that gap between 3% and the current market rate gets smaller, it's going to be more likely that they're ready to do something.
Totally. And I mean, as a buyer right now too, don't get me wrong. There's some competitive situations out there still in Sonoma County. No doubt, multiple offer situations, but there's also some really good opportunities out there for people that, the home has had some price drops.
I'm surprised by some of these.
Yeah.
Some of these houses I see, I'm like, there's one buyer for this house.
Yeah.
I think it's 9 offers.
Yeah.
And then other ones, thinking one specifically, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a frenzy over this house, and no offers come in. I'm not sure if it's because everyone thinks like, hey, this house is really desirable. There's really a ton of competition. I'm probably not going to win. So forget it. And then nothing comes through.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm really, really surprised. So I guess, the other message out here is like, hey, make an offer, like, hey,
make an offer.
Make an offer for what makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I have, make an offer what makes sense to you, and I'll do everything I can to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right. And there's strategies behind that. And, we won't give away all the tips and tricks, but there's strategies behind that. And sometimes the timing on when you submit the offer can be everything.
Yeah. I had a client yesterday looking at a house, and they're like kind of going back and forth. And I finally was just like, look, write it for what you think it's worth. Write it for what you're willing to pay for it. And if someone comes in, it was like 1.4. If someone comes in and writes an offer for 1.7, tip your hat at them and say, congratulations.
That's it.
But are you going to be mad at yourself if it sells for 1.35 when you were willing to pay 1.4 for it?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be really upset with yourself.
Yep.
So offer what you think it's worth.
Yep.
And worst case scenario, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And as the realtor, you can advise them, you can let them know what you think it's going to go for. But in the end, I'd rather have a client give it their best shot than not submit an offer at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I've submitted offers in the past, at asking, maybe a little below that asking, maybe just a bit above. And I'm like, probably not going to happen. And you get the phone call, we're going to accept. Thank God we submitted that offer.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, advise your clients. Sometimes you can make the other terms really appealing if the buyers are down for that. If they have good inspections on file, maybe you submitted asking, but you release inspection contingencies. You got a good mortgage broker on the other end. You can make sure you do a quick financing contingency. So all these other ways that maybe you can help your client win
100%.
if they can only max out at a certain price.
Yeah. And like worst case scenario, like maybe it's this just, I'm not the one who's writing up the purchase agreement. And I'm not sure how much time that takes to do.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
usually the longer part is trying to get the signatures.
Right. Trying to get, teaching everyone how to log into DocuSign.
Okay, we wasted, 30 minutes to get this submitted, but let's give it a shot.
And I would challenge the wasting part on that, right? Like, I don't think it's a waste. You're walking, especially if it's a first time home buyer, first time offer. Like, I remember the first time we made an offer, I was so nervous. I think I read that contract for like 2 hours.
Yeah. So that's a good point, because
after that it was easy.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So I'd get the first one out. It's like making pancakes, man. Get that first pancake out of the way.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, chuck it. And then at least
that's so true.
Dial it in from there.
That's so true. Not a waste. You're right. And it's a process.
Right.
Right. And I think, what I have found is usually people, whether they get super competitive on that first offer or not, whether it's accepted or not, they write that first one. If it's not accepted, boom, that one's out the way. And exactly like you said, they're excited to get that other one out there. And a lot of times they don't want to lose,
100%.
It's so
100%.
It's just the process. And that's what helps the buyer feel good when the job does get done, is they were able to go through their process and you let them do that. And now they feel good about it.
Totally. And I think almost always the client's happier.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, in hindsight, they're like, man, we wound up with the perfect house for us. We're really glad that last one didn't work out.
Yeah.
Even though we thought that was the one.
Yeah.
Boy, we're really thrilled that this is the one that we got.
Exactly.
And that's great. And then everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
So it's not a waste, man. Go and write those offers.
It's not a waste. The worst part about not getting an offer accepted is having to tell the clients.
Oh yeah.
That's the worst part.
Oh, so I'm on those group texts, man. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Especially
it's
when
tough.
they've already envisioned themselves being there.
Yeah. But if I can get a response back like, hey, no worries, we'll stay positive, keep them positive, then that's all you can do, and you'll go find them.
I think I'm going to start sending people congratulations gifts when they get an offer declined, when they don't get accepted. Like, congrats, man, you made an offer. That's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's
props to you for making
you
an
made
offer.
the jump.
Yeah.
You decided, you were on the edge. And
Yeah.
you decided to leap. Good for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Got uncomfortable.
Right.
Because I can't tell you. And again, that's our job to kind of remind them of why they're moving and doing this.
Yep.
But I think a lot of agents probably fail at this business because they show people the right home. They show people the home that might have been the one, or maybe they miss out on the first one, but they don't get the clients to ever write offers.
Right.
Or they can't connect with them emotionally and personally to get them to write an offer that's going to get the deal done, because the agent realizes how much this client is in pain, whether, they're traveling to 2 hours to kids' baseball game or whatnot. But I think a lot of agents out there are probably showing clients homes, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, how do you like the home? We love it. It's awesome. And then that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end of the conversation.
Right.
And then it's like, you let the people go. Maybe they follow up a day or two later. They don't get a call back, or the person's like, oh, well, we kind of thought about it. Not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So
yeah, I think, capitalizing on the enthusiasm and like being enthusiastic and being like, okay, great, then let's make this a reality. This is exciting time.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. You got uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to land this plane and get you into the house. Get you into this house.
That's it.
Nice. All right, dude. I'm really excited to see what happens with you at the new brokerage, and I'm really thrilled for you. Congratulations on making that move.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'll make sure everyone knows to put your new email address, and phone number stays the same.
Phone number stays the same. Yep.
And if you're looking for some help in the Bay Area, either as an agent or as a buyer or seller, reach out to Rob. And I think we've got a couple of fun things going on client-wise right now. So looking forward to our next deal, and thanks for being on By the Bay.
Thanks for having me.
It was good to see you, and give your wife and girls some love.
I will. And, great meeting your family today.
I know, they were just here. It's cool that you're able to meet Meg and the kids this morning. So really cool to see you, and thanks for being on the show, dude.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Stay up to date with Bay Area real estate. Hit subscribe now if you haven't already. Did you enjoy this episode? We love reviews in the Apple Podcasts app. We'll read yours on the show. This is By the Bay.
Lend an Ear Media.